It's all connected. This offers a freedom of self-expression and a kind of morality of what is right for all people. Hi, my name is Amy Trumpeter. I live in Rosendale, and we're at the Redwing Blackbird Puppet Theater right now, which I founded, let's say 20 years ago when I moved to Rosendale. And my work comes out of giant puppets, small puppets, hand puppets, masks, and is motivated by activism because the world we live in right now is rather complex. And in a lighthearted and deeply spiritual way, I think puppetry can bring to us the issues of our day and inspire our best actions, but enjoyably having a good time while we're doing it.
Puppetry, I think, like inherently is kind of like the people's theater, and that's why I think it lends itself so well to activism, because it just like in its history, that's just like street theater and puppet theater has always been like not funded well, so it doesn't have any of that input of like the bourgeoisie or like so, and it's like very much like attacked the hierarchies, and yeah, it was available for everyone, and didn't cost anything to make it.
Early influences for me were the Catholic Church. As a little kid, I went around with the Sisters of the Sick Poor, like ministering in Dayton, Ohio, to people who couldn't get out of their house and washing their feet. And I remember as a child being so shocked by the feet of old people, how messed up they were, really. But to do this, like to just foster some love of humanity. But when I got to Berkeley in the 60s and the kids were coming back from the voter registration, and also Mickey Schwerner and other people had been killed, and those young students at Berkeley were ready to go out in the streets, to be arrested, to have the student strike at Berkeley, I became wholeheartedly an activist.
Utilizing puppetry as a means to bring the power of protests forward is a very distinct thing. To get people to see what you're bringing through the puppets rather than through an individual person can have more of an impact on what you want to share.
The tendencies toward that were answered by seeing this bread and puppet theater where all of those motivations for me converged.
Cantate de la Dame Grise. Premier tableau.
I was attracted to the bread and puppet theater in the 60s for the way the puppets could march down Fifth Avenue and show the agony of Vietnam with these women with their hands tied and airplane beast puppet above them, drum beats, these women falling to the ground. And it's not preaching a political stance at you, but opening your heart to the suffering of human beings on this earth and what we need to stay connected to in our path through life. I started with bread and puppet in 1968. How many years ago is that?
It's 2020 now.
That's 54 years ago or something.
Wow.
So that was just the right choice. Initially, I was a puppeteer in Peter Schumann's Bread and Puppet Theater, but quite soon I started making little hand puppet shows out of the back of a van, and children's theater in Portland, Maine, and building giant puppets and taking shows on tour, and then going back sometimes to Bread and Puppet and joining in on their tours. I think my breakthrough was making a hand puppet Punch and Judy show that I was able to take anywhere, and I did it in a skirt with the skirt as the stage. Did it in all kinds of languages, touring with Bread and Puppet.
It's Punch and Judy for today. Hiya! Hiya, hiya, hiya! Hi! Hi! Oh, Punch is a jolly good fellow. That's me. His dress is all scarlet and yellow. And sometimes he gets a little mellow. But only among his good friends. Oh, ruppity-tuppity-tum. Hey, Judy, come on up. Oh, she's a beauty. Mr. Punch. Judy, give me a kiss. Oh, no, 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 no. Judy, give me a little kiss. Oh, no, 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 no. Judy, a little weeny kiss. Come on. Quick, I'm dying.
As a woman doing that show and coming out of the skirt at the end was quite victorious for me, to find a way to not preach feminism, but as a strong voice, in a tricky voice, and an entertaining voice. What is she really saying here kind of voice? So that to me was a theatrical victory, which I did not even expect to have it work. Puppetry gives you that immediate feedback, which I don't think every profession has. You know, painter in the studio, goes up in the gallery, you don't quite know if you're hitting the heartstrings or the intellect or the emotional qualities that are in the viewer. But with live performance, that's great. It's like a forum for your work. And from that crazy little Punch and Judy hand puppet show in a skirt solo, I was given the job of directing The Barber of Seville with St. Anne's Warehouse in Brooklyn. And here, I remember I got the job, I didn't even have a portfolio. So I took the Punch and Judy show and did it and got the job. And this person was driving me home afterwards. And I said, I have no idea how I'm going to direct this opera. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Nothing simpler. There's my shop down by the street. Walk down the alleyway, turn to the right, sir. There you will find me, morning and night, sir.
And then that was a long and painful process of trial and error with a lot of input from other people, and turned out to work.
What Amy did with her puppets just mushroomed up and out into something incredible. So I've seen small audiences grow into very, very large audiences. And most of what she shares is for everybody.
So it is a different vocabulary to get an outdoor piece that's raucous or engaging and draws people who haven't paid for it and who aren't committed to it, who just come and watch you and get your point, get your message, get your joy of life on the street, renew the joy of life that we all are longing for, that joy of life. It's not that kind of political theater that everyone is afraid of that tells you what's right and what's wrong. Rather, it's to show the puppets in the naive way that opens the heartstrings, so that you hope, and with the musical opening of the heart as well, that a person can't walk away from this with that encasement over us that allows us to not do anything, but that the persuasion and the inspiration and what words can't say, but you know inside of you is touched, that we can touch that deeply, is so enraging. How our politics must blind our morality, our humanity, what we're born with. That we started this interview as little kids. We know what's right, we know what's wrong, and that we can rationalize and pull ourselves into this world destruction, which right now has reached such a degree that the next generation has to do something or life on Earth won't continue as it is now. It's all connected. That's what this puppet theater wants to do, where the music goes one direction, the text goes another direction, the visuals go another direction, and you as an audience put that together in the depth of your being and walk out with a different view of what does this world look like. That's why we do puppet theater. Thank you.